Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction for Real Sociedad versus Manchester United in the Europa League. That's a mouthful I really wish I didn't have to talk about, but we are in the Europa League and it is Ole's press conference reaction, and it's probably taken us by shock. Massive injury problems for Manchester United. We shouldn't probably be shocked because of the amount of games we're having to play, and we have been a little bit lucky. But a blow about Paul Pogba, which we'll talk about in a minute. But a bigger blow, a more imminent blow, is that Van der Beek and Cavani are not travelling to Turin to play Real Sociedad. That both of them are injured with muscle injuries. Now, somebody jokes that how has Van der Beek got injured because he never plays? It must be a bum muscle, from sitting on his backside so much. I mean, it could be piles. If you sit on a cold service long enough, you can get hemorrhoids. Maybe it's that from sitting on the bench. I don't know. But he did put a picture out yesterday of himself training. So, I don't know. I'm just stunned. I mean, this was the game that Van der Beek was surely going to start in. And he's injured. And I'm so disappointed. So disappointed, and it must be a relevant injury. It must be an injury that obviously keeps him out of the game for him not to be travelling. But not only Van der Beek, Cavani as well. Both not travelling, both injured with muscle injuries, and both a very big blow for Manchester United. I mean, I don't normally do the press conference in this setup, but I've done it for the simple reason that I want to, just show off the... why is it doing that with Mata now? Get Mata. I don't want Mata looking like that. I want Mata on 8. So I've changed the team based on injuries. Also, McTominay and Martial are carrying knocks as well, and they need a test ahead of tomorrow. So 4 players. And Hader's right. I literally saw pictures of Donny training yesterday, so he must have got injured in training. It's a huge blow. I mean, look, in relation to the game itself, Real Sociedad are a good side. In relation to the immediate future of Newcastle and Chelsea on the horizon after next week's Real Sociedad game, our season's in issues here. Cavani's been a very consistent, hard-working performer. Van der Beek was a player I felt we needed to bring into the team because of lack of creativity from midfield. So this is a huge blow. And look, there's nothing you can do about injuries. There's nothing we can do about it. It is what it is. And we have to try and adapt. But why is it always the player that needs, we needed Van der Beek to take this opportunity against Sociedad, and now he won't be taking that opportunity. He won't even be taking the plane to Turin. He's going to be stuck back in Manchester with an injury that could be quite significant. So I'm very disappointed about it. Mark, will Mason start at number 9 and Diallo on the right with Cavani out and Martial out, says Phil Jones. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. So Cavani, Van der Beek not travelling with the squad, both got injuries. All I'd say on Cavani is very good player, very good signing. But what did I say? I'm always going to come back to this. I don't think I was wrong to say that Cavani was a massive risk because he's injury prone. I kept telling people the last 18 months before he came to United, he picked up a lot of injuries, muscle injuries. He already has had one at the start of December. Now he's got another one. How long, we don't know. But he does get injured, Cavani. He has got muscle injury problems. So he's out of this game as well. Hopefully he's back for Newcastle. But muscle injuries can be a couple of weeks. If we're without Cavani and Van der Beek for a couple of weeks, and Martial and McTominay are carrying knocks as well, we could be decimated very, very, very quickly. The news on Paul Pogba is that he is definitely not going to be playing again in February and will be out for a few more weeks. So I don't think we're getting Paul Pogba back for the Manchester derby, by the sounds of it. A few more weeks for that one as well. So it's not good. We're not performing on the pitch, and now we're picking up a lot of injuries that are only going to weaken our resolve. So it's not good. It isn't good. It really isn't. But right, let's have a look at how we might line up. So I've not put McTominay and I've not put Martial in because they've got knocks. They may well play, but they have got knocks, and we have got a huge game on Sunday. I've also taken Rashford out because I think we need somebody fresh on Sunday. If Van der Beek and Martial and Van der Beek, Cavani and Pogba are out, and Martial and McTominay are carrying knocks, then none of them should be playing tomorrow, and I wouldn't play Rashford either. I think we can't. This is the decision Solskjaer's got to make now, and it's probably a bigger decision because of the fact that we've got injuries. We cannot do both. We cannot do Thursday, Sunday over the next 4 games. We haven't got the players. We haven't got the fitness levels. So for me, Rashford needs to not play in this game because we need a fit Rashford, a rested Rashford for Newcastle, especially if we haven't got Cavani and Martial's carrying a knock and Pogba and Van der Beek are out as well. So he needs to just prioritise the league as far as I'm concerned. Welcome to the Members Club Illumination Designs. Thank you for joining. So look, I put Dan James on the left, Mata on the right. I don't think he's going to start Diallo. Greenwood down the middle, obviously Bruno, Fred and Matic, because what else options have we got? The back four, the back four and the keeper, I think we're okay there. But I think McTominay shouldn't play if he's got a knock. Martial shouldn't play if he's got a knock. There's bigger games to come. Cavani and Van der Beek can't play because they're not there. Pogba's not there. So that's how I would go. What would be a perfect signing, says Zed Lucas. What, right now? Well, we can't. In the summer, we need a centre-back and we need a centre defensive midfielder, in my opinion. But the reason I put Mata in there, quite interesting. I didn't even realise this. He spoke about Juan Mata and he said that Mata's had a few weeks off. We could have used him against West Brom. I was thinking that against West Brom, get Juan Mata on, he can unlock, but he's back now. So Mata's not been on the bench the last few games, but not because he's been dropped. He's been off somewhere. I don't know where he's been. So Juan Mata's back with them now. I don't know whether he's had an injury or whatever. That wasn't revealed. I certainly, it's never been mentioned before that Mata's been injured, but he wasn't part of. He wasn't available for selection for the last few games that he's not been on the bench. So he is back now. And I think there's a very good chance that Juan Mata will start because we are running on empty, and I think he's always going to go with experience over young players like Diallo or a Solskjaer or someone like that. So I expect Juan Mata will start. But we are down to the bare bones in this game. McTominay and Martial may well be involved, but they are carrying knocks. That's what Ollie said. Cavani and Van der Beek not travelling, and Paul Pogba won't be ready for a few more weeks yet. Definitely not going to be back early in February. And that's from Solskjaer's words himself. So lots still to get through, lots spoken about. Just very, very quickly, Mason Greenwood was in the interview with Solskjaer for the start. He spoke really well. Not that should be a surprise, but he's not really done many press conferences. He's just signed the new contract. And he actually spoke really well. I think some footballers are not that natural in a press conference. I thought Mason Greenwood did speak really well. He was asked about what his favourite position is. He says, I don't mind. I can play anywhere across the front three and I'll take whatever's offered to me, which I think shows, hunger and maturity that he just wants to play. He said, as he found it hard in his second season after having such a good first season. And he said, well, it's challenging because in the first season, teams don't really do their homework on you, and now they do. So you need to have a few more tricks up your sleeve. So, and it was a very brief bit with Mason before he left. But what I did like when Mason Greenwood left is Ollie gave him a fist pump and then sort of did a deep intake of breath like a proud dad. And I think he was pleased with the way Mason Greenwood conducted himself. And he's going to become a very, very important player for Manchester United, Greenwood, now over the next few weeks, especially with the injuries that we've got and the players we've got. He is that spark. But Ollie spoke about Real Sociedad and he said they're well organised, they're having a good season. And it's going to be a challenge for us. I think it's going to be a real big challenge. I said in the preview yesterday that I tipped a draw. I think if United get a draw, it'll be a good result. I do. I think looking at the injury problems we've got, the way we've been playing recently, I don't see much fluidity in that team. No Pogba, no Van der Beek, no Cavani. I don't see where the creativity is going to come from in the midfield. I think we're going to give up the ball. I think we're going to give up the ball a lot. And it's funny because Solskjaer did talk about how they've developed their way of playing, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I can't see how Man United are going to boss the ball against the Real Sociedad, who are a very good team at bossing the ball, when you're going to be reliant on, well, even if McTominay's fit, Matic, Fred, McTominay, two of them are going to have to play because we don't have Pogba or Van der Beek. So I don't see us being able to get much of the ball tomorrow. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult game. We are playing 2 legs. I know. It doesn't mean that the first leg's not going to be difficult. I know it's over 2 legs. I think we'll do well to get a draw tomorrow, and then hopefully next week at Old Trafford we can get some players back. But this has always been the problem. Yazabel's going to run rings round you, says Evan 1. Well, we have got Wan-Bissaka on that side, so I'm not massively concerned. But this was always the problem that we feared, and Liverpool have had it for a long time, so no club's going to be sympathetic to us, but we always feared that at some point this season, it's so relentless that we might get a clutch of injuries. And February is a bit of a month where we do get injuries, February to March. So just going to have to see how we get on. It's come at the worst possible time, really, because we're not playing well. We're dropping a lot of points. We're being chased down in the league for that second place, top 4 position. And the Europa League's just kicking in. So we're going to have to, I wonder in a situation like this whether actually turning to a youngster might be a good idea. A Shortire, a Hannibal, certainly a Diallo. Something like that might just give the team a spark. Because Mata's going to come in and do okay, and maybe Dan James will come in and do okay, but it's not something we don't know. It's not something the players don't know. And I think one of these young lads might be able to give us a bit of a spark, but whether Ollie is tempted to do that or not, I don't know. I think he'll go for more experienced bench players, which he hasn't really used, but he will use them. But I'd love to see Diallo starting. Ollie was also asked about Mason Greenwood. He said he can play as a number 10. I really like what he said about Mason, though. He said we're going to find out in the next year or two what he's all about. Is he a number 9? Is he a wider player? Could it be a number 10? But definitely in and around the goal is what he's going to be. And I spoke about that this morning. I mean, people talk about signing an Erling Haaland, but, Greenwood, we need to find out what he's going to be over the next 18 months. What is Mason Greenwood going to be at Manchester United? And Ollie talking about that's really good as well. We are reacting like a small club team. Now top 4 is good for us, but not any trophy. Ollie has come to divide the fan base. We all know he is not a good manager and he will be bottling trophies, says MG. Okay. Matic, Mata, Grant to start. Old Chester United, says Rahul. Well, it will be Henderson in goal. I think we know that. Do you think United will be trying to do a Lingard and cash move for Declan Rice in the summer, says Jack Pickering? I think that's way too competent for Manchester United to do. Donny van der Beek's got a muscle injury. Tomorrow's game, says Shiraz Chowdhury, is going to be super boring, I feel. We will play deep and the entire game and look for a draw. I think the way we might play might be quite frustrating, but I don't think that the way that Real Sociedad's going to play is going to be boring. He was also asked, I'm just working through the topics here. He was asked about the style of play, which I think you're going to find interesting. But he was asked about strikers at Manchester United and our lack of goals an issue. He said, well, we are the top scorers in the Premier League this season. So, lack of goals isn't an issue, but he does want more from his strikers. And he would hope to see that over the next coming weeks, which is, I think we do need more goals from our strikers. But he is right to say that we have scored a lot of goals. Very reliant on Bruno, as we know. The media talking about Neville's analysis about Harry Victor chemistry made me yawn. You've been talking about it for so long already. Keep up the good work, says Stray79. Mate, slow sports news, isn't it? I did say this. The media are finally waking up to the fact that Maguire and Victor are the problem at Man United because Gary Neville mentioned it on Sky Sports a few days ago. And yet, you've been talking about it on this channel for about 6 months. But fan opinion's not good enough, apparently. You only watch all the games. You only see where the mistakes are made. You only talk about glaring issues. It needs to be mentioned. The slow sports news, they're just so bloody slow. Surely this is Ahmad's chance. Perfect test for him, says Alf. I hope so, but I'm not convinced we will use him. Also, this I want to talk about this. He was asked about the style of play of Manchester United and what's developing. Read what you want into this. Solskjaer said, over the last year and a half, we've worked on pressing high up the pitch and we're doing that better now. It's about the balance between a high press, a low press and a mid block and counter-attacking quickly. It does make sense. You just have to think about it. It's a balance between a high press, a low press, a mid block and a counter-attacking team that hits quickly. That's basically 4 different ways of playing that we're trying to do. I certainly think at times over the last year and a half, our high press has improved. But do I think we are any better in style of play than we were a year and a half ago? I think sometimes we are and sometimes we're not. I think consistency is the key. I'm not going to sit here and say that Solskjaer doesn't counter-attack quickly sometimes or that we don't high press sometimes. But we don't do anything consistently. I know when I watch Liverpool, maybe not this season because of the changes they've had to make, but I know how Liverpool are going to play. I already know how Tuchel's going to play with Chelsea, and I've only watched them 3 times. I know how Pep plays. I don't know what United are, and I think this is something that I wish I'd said this morning because I was talking about the comment that Solskjaer made in that interview with Norwegian TV where he said that it's about giving the coaches time to implement their patterns of play. Well, I still don't really see a clearly defined 90-minute style of play for United. I think it's 10 minutes of this, 10 minutes of that, and then, we sort of sometimes in games we seem to get lost. But as I said, I've watched Chelsea play 3 times under Tuchel, and I see exactly what they're doing already, and he's only been there a month. So I do think we labour the point about improvement. It doesn't take a year to implement a style of play. It doesn't take a year and a half to gradually improve how you high press. The reality is, a good coach with good coaches implements this a lot quicker. And I'm not saying this falls onto Solskjaer at all. I mean, somebody just said there, Ole Gunnar freestyle. As he said himself, he's the manager. A lot of the coaching is down to his coaches. And I think this fits in with what many people keep saying. We need better coaches. We need an elite coach who knows what they're doing at this level, because we are taking way too long as a club to implement a style of play when some managers can drop into a club and start doing it within 3 or 4 games. And look, Lampard's lost his job now, but very quickly at Chelsea last season, you could see what his style of play was. So look, I think the style of play at Man United needs to be more defined and more clear for the fans to see, because I think sometimes we do high press and I think sometimes we do counter-attack. But a high press and a counter-attack don't work. Which is why Ollie's saying it's about high press, a mid-block, a low press, and counter-attacking quickly. I mean, there's different phases of play. You can't high press for 90 minutes, I accept that. But we do need to define the way that we're playing better. I personally think, I can tell you my favourites, well, there's 2 really. I thought PSG away in the final half an hour was a brilliant tactical switch. I think we brought Pogba on and I loved it. And the first half an hour against Everton in the Carabao Cup, where they couldn't get out their half and we played on the halfway line, was brilliant. It's a brilliant example of a high press. And that's probably the best I've seen us play in England this season. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But you can only do that if you put somebody quick next to Harry Maguire. So, and you can only do that if you've got quick pressing players who are good on the ball. I don't think we're going to do this tomorrow. Isaac could bully Lindelof. He's 6'4" and he's a physical striker, says Frankie Matthews. Well, you know what's going to happen tomorrow, Frankie. We're going to chuck Eric Bailly into the difficult game, aren't we? And if Eric Bailly has a difficult game against a difficult striker, everyone will say, wow, this is why Lindelof's better. There's a big difference between playing Real Sociedad and Isaac than there is about playing West Brom and that lad that played against Lindelof. Give Hugo the chance with Cavani out. Also, Axel needs game time or to be sold. Did you see Jesse's comments? Says Zachary. I don't know what comments you're talking about. I've seen some comments from Jesse, but I don't know which ones you're on about. I don't know whether Hugo would be ready to be thrown into this game, to be fair. Good up and coming player, but I wouldn't throw him into anything like this. Mark, I feel like we are a side who sits deep, eats up pressure and tries to hit on the counter. I'd love to see us playing dominant possession football, says Andy. Well, yeah, I think that the best we played was Everton at Goodison Park before Christmas. I don't think Hugo's ready at all for this sort of level of football yet. Not far off, but I don't think he's not even 18 yet. So got a bit of growing out to do. Needs to train with the first team. I wouldn't put him in yet. No. I don't think Shorty is ready yet either, but it'd be good for him to be part of that. Gonna sit deep and boring tomorrow, says Frank Carvel. Ollie was also asked about Diallo and bringing young players to the club. He said, we give these talents a chance to come and progress. It's about giving chances. We've shown that we've done that over the years with people like Ronaldo and Rooney. And he was asked about the abuse that Martial had again. Again, we're asking about abuse of players, which I think we're doing every press conference. Ollie said it himself. It's every presser at the moment. It used to be sporadic. Now it's every week. Something needs to be done. It's disgusting. I've spoken to Anthony, but he doesn't take notice of social media anyway. Julian S says, having tactics is more than just counter-attacking. It's also about off-the-ball movement, which we lack. The players and Ollie simply rely on Bruno. Well, Julian makes an interesting point there about Bruno Fernandes. He will obviously play tomorrow and he will obviously play on Sunday. So obviously these injuries to Van de Beek and to Cavani, and with Pogba out and maybe McTominay and Martial carrying injuries, it forces you to have to use players that maybe you would have given a rest to, which is why I wouldn't play Rashford tomorrow, because where's the freshness against Newcastle? I don't see how Cavani and Van de Beek will be fit on Sunday. I know it's only Wednesday, but if they've got a muscle injury, it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to play on Sunday. So we are going to basically pick 2 teams that are going to be very similar for these 2 games, and fatigue will be a massive problem against Newcastle. I'm worried. I don't like being pessimistic, and I'm certainly not going to start attacking the manager. That's not what I'm going to do. But I do worry for Man United. I worry in a way that I want Man United to win, but I'm realistically worried that I can see us not winning either of these games. I can see both being a draw or worse. I think we're going into this game after a terrible performance against West Brom. We've now picked up more injuries. We're going to have to use players twice that we maybe wouldn't have wanted to. unless we can find a spark, and maybe a Mason Greenwood or a Diallo can offer that, unless we can find a spark, I think that Sociedad will really fancy their chances, and then Newcastle, with a week off, needing a result, will fancy their chances as well. I think we're in for a very difficult few weeks, unless we can sort these injuries out fast. And look, I don't think Paul Pogba's in any hurry to come back. It looks like it's quite a significant injury there. So people will say we should have done business in January. We didn't do any business in January. We weren't planning on doing any business in January. We ignored it. Obviously, in hindsight, we can all sit there and say we should have done something. We should have used Van der Beek more, because now he's injured anyway. So we should have used him more, and then other players might be fresher. But there is an opportunity for people like Matic. He's not played a lot of football. Maybe a Dan James, maybe a Wan Mata. Certainly Dean Henderson will be in goal. Tellez at left back. There are players that haven't played a lot of football. Eric Bailly, who can come in and give us a bit of freshness. And we're going to need it tomorrow, because they're going to be a really good side. Amar says, hi Mark, I think that Ollie will play Henderson in the starting 11 every game until we get to the semi-final, and then he'll play De Gea and we will lose it. It will be like Romero last season. I don't think he will. I think he will keep with Henderson in the Europa League. I don't think he'll do what he did to Romero, to be honest with you. But I don't think we'll get that far in the tournament. I think we might be out next Thursday. I think it might be a 2-week hit for United. We're going to have to... Look, we've got the players to do it, but we're going to have to perform really well tomorrow. And maybe I'm a bit pessimistic because of the way we've been playing recently, and obviously the injury news we've had in the last half an hour. But I think I think people are sleeping on Real Sociedad. I think they're a good side, and I think it's going to be a hard game for us. And I think if they turn up, they've got a lot of players that can cause us a lot of problems, and they're going to have a lot of the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if this went the way of Sevilla against Mourinho 3 years ago. I think we always seem to struggle against Spanish clubs. Certainly in the knockout stages, we seem to struggle against them. I wouldn't mind if we're gonna get knocked out, says Wilmer. But I mean, look, in the grand scheme, how's your injury, Mark? The stomach cramp. Well, I went somewhere straight after the stream this morning, and I felt a lot better. So yeah, I feel okay now. But I think that is that team's Mark's prediction. Well, it's to do with the injuries that we've got at the moment. Lynn Hall says she's not confident as well. That's not a Ricky 11. I know Ricky will be loving that team. Ricky will love that team. I've just realised it's a Ricky 11. It's got James, Mata and Matic. I tell you what, Fleck, I love that team. I love it. No, the reason I picked that team is because of the injuries. Cavani, Pogba, Van der Beek, McTominay and Marshall have both got knocks. And I wouldn't play Rashford. I think we need to keep somebody fresh for Sunday. So that's why I've gone with that. But yeah, I mean, look, if we get knocked out of the Europa League, is it the end of the world? It would definitely allow us to focus on top four. And that, to me, wouldn't be a bad thing. But unfortunately, the way our fan base is, and the way any fan base is, to be fair, you can't just sit here and say it's acceptable, let's get knocked out by Sociedad because of our injury crisis. We've still got a very big squad. We've still got players that you would expect to play better. I think the worrying thing is we're not expecting them to deliver over the next week. That's the worrying thing. So, and also, if we get beat comprehensively by Sociedad over 2 legs, in a week's time, Ollie's going to be under huge pressure again. You know it's building up again, and I don't want that. But unfortunately, I think Solskjaer knew it himself back in the autumn. He's only ever going to be one bad result away from all the shit coming back. And there's nothing any of us can do about that. You know, one bad result and everyone's on him again. I mean, even after Sheffield United, when we were still technically could have been top of the league, very, very close to top of the league, there were still people coming back and saying this is why he's not good enough. So if we get our asses handed on a plate tomorrow night, there will be a load of stick. He can't afford to go through a bad run. I think he knows that. You know, that pressure was on Solskjaer before that Everton game. There was that story saying that we'd spoken to Poch. He just lost to Istanbul. There was a lot of people sort of saying now's the time to sack him. We went on an amazing run. That run ended with Sheffield United, and now we look a bit tired as a team. The results have become dried up, and now we're getting injuries as well. He can't afford a bad run because has he got enough goodwill in the bank? He has got goodwill in the bank with some of you. But some of you have got no patience. Some of you are like me. I'm like, whatever happens, let's wait till May. But it doesn't mean that if we lose our next 4 games in a row, I'm not going to sit there and say, I think he's got to go in May. I won't be saying sack him now. I'm not going to do that. We've just got to go through till May unless something really, really goes bad. But the pressure's on Solskjaer again. And I don't think it will ever leave him. I think it's very hard for it to leave him. Obviously, winning a Premier League title would help that. Winning a Champions League would help that, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. And I think he's under pressure. So yeah, going out of the Europa League, I think would help our league top 4 cause, but I don't think it would help Solskjaer. I think it would be a stick to beat him with. In fact, I think there's probably people out there going, you know what, we could do with not going, just play the kids and get knocked out of the Europa League. But then if that happens, they'll say Ollie out. Crap. So he's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't. But we're in for you know what? One positive I would say is. And remember when we had when we had Frederick Fieldvet on, the journalist from Norway, and he said Solskjaer is the best manager in the world with a knife at his throat. And what he meant by that is that Solskjaer is the best manager in the world when he's under threat, when he's in trouble. So this might actually work out quite well for us, because I can't see Sociedad, Newcastle, Sociedad, Chelsea, and then I think we've got Man City after that. Out of those next 5 games, I really can't. I wouldn't surprise me if we don't win any. But then under Solskjaer, you think we'll probably win 4 and draw 1. So, that gives me a bit of hope that Solskjaer is a very good manager when he's up against it. We will get geeked with that lineup. We want Diallo, says Miles Chapman. And we all need to buy some Viagra for Ollie because he can't get past the semi-final, says Al33. United need to stop hiring former players as coaches and actually hire proven coaches that know what they're doing. Until we do that, we won't have a style of play, says Jack Pickering. Well, I'm very glad that Solskjaer has clarified that he's the manager and that coaching is dealt by the coaches, because I don't think the coaches are good enough. Not individually. I'm not talking about them individually. I think some of them are good, but collectively, I don't think that coaching pool is experienced enough. I think Mike Phelan's been out of the game a long time. And McKenna, Carrick, Fletcher and anybody else, they're just inexperienced coaches. I think what United need is an experienced coach in there to work under Ollie. And we've never chosen to do that. And I think this is why our style of play is so inconsistent. Because, as I said, I've watched Chelsea under Tuchel after 3 games. I can clearly see what he's trying to do with players, and it will get better the more he works with them. And, you can watch a lot of clubs. I can watch Brighton and know how Potter's playing. You can watch a lot of clubs and know what their plan is. I mean, I know what Mourinho's plan is. I don't like it, but I know what it is. But with United, it's very hard to see fluidity in the way we play. You'll see a good 10 minutes, and then you'll see a really shit 20 minutes. So, what is our identity of play? I know what our formation is now. I'm glad that we've got that, 4-2-3-1. But we do need to see some fluidity in the performance and the way that we're playing. And we haven't seen that. And it's, it is coming up for 2 years now with these coaches. And we do see little bits, but we should be seeing more than a little bits. I'm not saying you should play the same way for 90 minutes, but it'd be nice to do it for a good, like we did against Everton, that first half an hour. I want to see that more. And I don't think we see a style of play with United enough. And I don't think we're going to see much of a style of play tomorrow night, because we haven't really got anybody who can get on the ball from deep. Are you worried about Bruno picking up a knock now? Salah, I'm very worried about Bruno picking up a knock, because if Donny van der Beek can pick up a knock when he knows he's going to start, it just shows you how fragile these footballers are. The last thing Donny van der Beek wants to do is be left behind, not going to Turin, not playing in a game that he probably would have started in. So it just shows you the fragility of these players. And Ollie said it in the press conference. He said, we're a fresher and more energetic side than we were last year, and the fitness has improved. But then the relentlessness of games starts to take its toll. We want to be that club that has a week off, like some people do, because you definitely see the difference in performance when you get that. But it is relentless in relation to the games that we're playing. And I do worry about Bruno, because if he does pick up a knock and he's out for 3 or 4 weeks, we're screwed. I think if we, losing Pogba's bad enough, losing Cavani's bad enough, but if you lose Bruno Fernandes, I think we're out the Europa League and we're out the top 4, like that. Within 4 weeks, we'll just drop. Do you really think if Bruno went, if Bruno got if Bruno pulled his hamstring and he's out for 4 weeks, look at the fixtures we've got over the next 4 weeks. We would be out. I would be sat here saying to you, let's hope when Bruno comes back, we're within touching distance of top 4. That's all we can hope for. Because I don't think we would be in top 4, even though we've got 4 points on 4th place at the moment. I think we'd be out the top 4 like a stone dropping in a river. Hi, Mark. To make out Bruno, put Mata in there and Diallo on the right. Don't want Bruno getting an injury from this game, says Daniel. Well, we could try that, Daniel, but I think we'd be giving up the tie. I think at least if you play Bruno, you've got a chance of maybe getting a result. Mark, would being knocked out of the Europa League be a blessing in disguise? It's a very good question from Mojo. Can I ask everyone in the live comments, if we got knocked out of the Premier, if we get knocked out of the Europa League, is that a blessing in disguise? And how would you react to it? Because, as I said, my concern would be, I don't want to get knocked out of the Europa League. I just don't want to put a strong team in it. But with the injuries we've got, I think we're going to have to. So, look, if you want top 4, the best thing that can happen is we get knocked out by Real Sociedad. Yes, that's the best thing that can happen. But then, how are we going to take being knocked out? Are we going to sit there next Thursday night when we're knocked out and go, it's for the best? It's for the best. Don't worry about it, Ollie. It's for the best. Well, you know that's not going to happen. We'll get knocked out and it'll be PE teacher. This is why he's not good enough. Get rid of him. I think you've got to sit here right now and say it and then stand by it when we get knocked out. For me, if we get knocked out, then I think we've got a very good chance of getting top 4 in the Premier League. Having said that, if we get embarrassed through shit football, then there has to be accountability for that as well. It's how you get knocked out, isn't it? If we get knocked out because ultimately we give it a go, but we're not good enough with the players we've got, then you know, you take it on the chin. But if we get embarrassed, if we win, we can win. We can win. Since Matic retired from Serbian national team, he hasn't played well at all, and players who don't play international football shouldn't play for a team like United, says Alexander. There you go. I've always been Ollie out and always will be, says James Hoyle. Can't get dumped out of the Champions League, then the Europa, says Prod B. And why not try and win it in case you don't get top 4, says Zach. I just don't think you can do it, Zach. I think that's what we're all talking about. Thursday, Sunday for 10 weeks with the squad that we've got. I don't think we can do it. Ollie is desperate for a trophy and that is scary, says Steve Locke. Well, you know what? I'm really looking forward to the game tomorrow. Mata versus Silva will be a blast from the past, says Tuvis. I'm really looking forward to the game tomorrow. I always look forward to United playing. That might be naive and stupidity. I'm setting myself up for a disappointment. But I am looking forward to the game. And I hope that we can get a result. But we've definitely taken a bit of a blow today with the injuries that we've got. And we've definitely got some really hard games to come. I mean, there's barely time to breathe after tomorrow night and then Newcastle, is there? So it's coming thick and fast. Anyway, I'm back again at 7 o'clock tonight on this channel because I'm doing Man City Everton at 8 o'clock on That's Football. So it'll be a 7 o'clock show tonight. Also, I'll be keeping an eye on Dortmund Sevilla because Koundé's playing. So a bit of a Koundé watch and I suppose a Sancho watch to a certain extent. So you can join me for that. 7 o'clock on the United Stand tonight. We'll be back. Please smash a like on video. Subscribe if you're new. And if you're interested in my FIFA career mode, I'm live on on That's Football in about 25 minutes. So I'll speak to you then. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments. Hope you're all doing well. Stay safe. And yeah, big build up for this game now with all the injuries we've got. I'll speak to you in a bit.